When it comes to hiring a PI, the cost can vary greatly. As well, the presentation of the cost will vary. Some private investigators will quote hourly fees. Some have fees set per day for service, like surveillance. And then there are one-off services such as skip tracing, process serving, background checks, things like that. If the PI quotes you an hourly fee, I highly recommend to get a good idea from him or her as to how many hours they anticipate the case taking. Generally speaking, you will usually find hourly fees for most private investigators in the $75 to $150 an hour range. Now, a big difference in costs for PIs many times is the specialty area that they work in. The experience of a PI can also dictate the pricing. A more experienced surveillance investigator may charge his clients $125 to $150, where an entry-level PI may be around $50 to $75. However, price does not dictate experience or quality of work. You do not always get what you pay for in the private investigation world. Now, a good PI will usually steer away from the hourly cost and work with you on the cost of the investigation in its totality. The problem with hiring a PI in just the hourly is that many times they will quote an hourly fee and say they can get started for a certain amount. Let's say their hourly fee is $150 an hour. They will get started for $1,500, which is 10 hours of work. Is 10 hours enough time to get the job completed? Those PIs working with the get started approach will use up most, if not all, of that get started money on preliminary work. Then they have to keep coming back for more money time and time again. This is why it is so important to ask the PI that gives you an hourly fee, how many hours will it take? One-off services are a bit harder to nail down as they can have an even wider range. Process serving, for instance, can vary depending on many factors, such as geographical location of the subject being served, how quickly you need them served, what type of documents are being served, and how many pages total are going to be included in the serve. Make sure when you talk to a PI about one-off services, you ask about different levels of service. The private investigations business is no different than any other business. We have our low-ball pricing for basic services, and then we have upsell services to go along with that. Now, a routine process serve may cost anywhere from $75 to $100 depending on location. I might be a little closer to the subject being served, so I price things lower than my competitor across town, but if I have to go clear across town to do the serve, I may charge more than my competitor because I don't go to that area of town that often. Other services like skip traces and locates get confusing too, as everybody seems to have a little different thought as to what these services include. Make sure you get a detailed list of what they will provide for their fee. One guy may charge $75 for a basic skip trace, but what exactly is a basic skip trace? And is it enough to get the job done? I have seen PIs charge anywhere from $75 to $250 for skip traces, each one providing a little bit more detail, a little more information. They may run the subject in one database for $75, but they'll run them in 5 databases for the $250 fee. So make sure you ask questions like, what do I get? How many databases will you use? How quickly does it take? Background checks are the same way. Many PIs just run one database and unfortunately just provide that report and call it a background. Hopefully you have some idea of what a private investigator may cost. Always get quotes from multiple private investigators. I always suggest at least 3 and make them tell you exactly what you will get for your money.